Welcome to Bootstrap, insights for a self-funded entrepreneur with Frank Cianciulli. As always, my name is Matthew Lay and I am your host. The title of today's show, Don't Apologize for Yourself. Quite often when you take the plunge to start your own business and you're that type of person, you're probably not used to being someone who says sorry a whole lot. But then you get into the seat at the start and you find yourself apologizing. This was Frank's topic. The funny thing is, Frank, is I don't remember you apologizing to me all that much in our course of business. So why are we talking about this today?
Well, we're talking about this because often in early stage business, or if you're kind of trying to build something and you don't quite have the resources, I think oftentimes we're worried about what employees will think, and or even clients will think. If you potentially have clients come to your office and it's not quite the fancy office on Bay Street yet. But you don't need to, because you need to focus on where you're going, not where you are.
Okay, and we've talked about this in like the pre-interviews, and you learned this lesson early, right? Like you may have done a little bit of that apologizing when I wasn't around over the first couple of years, right? Okay, so not apologizing isn't about ego. Right? It's not about being the alpha in the office. It can distract you from where you're going, right?
Correct, especially when people are always coming to you saying, "Oh, if only we had this, and if only we had that."
Right.
And it's like, well, okay, great, we will have those things one day.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, it's a building process, so it's step by step. We've got to get to point B before we can worry about point C or D.
Right. And listening too much to that or can distract you from your plan, right? You can make compromised decisions that cost you money.
Oh, exactly, because you've got a plan. You say, okay, we've got a certain amount of resources, and let's say they're invested in actual salaries and people to do tasks. So if there's no budget for additional services, then we've got to focus on getting that job done with the resources we have. Once we hit that milestone, then we'll invest.
Right. And having that plan has got to be real important.
Exactly, and oftentimes you can stray from your plan if everyone's always complaining about something they need or don't need. And you know what, and you got to be careful, because if you take chances, it's got to pay off.
Right.
But oftentimes you're just not even ready to make the investment. For example, someone might say, "Oh, we really could use a CRM." Well, yeah, of course we could use a CRM, but it could also bog down the process. It could also be an expense. What are free versions? What are some workarounds we can work towards? So you want to make sure your organization stays, I don't want to say the word just lean and mean, but disciplined.
Right. And I mean, I know that one of the mistakes that I would make is not throwing money at a problem, but thinking that I could fill in the gaps for where that wasn't there. And when I started the business, as the president, it was very important to the business, and that was just a big waste of my time. What's one way you try and get ahead of this when you're recruiting in a lean environment?
Well, I think I'm really upfront. I kind of tell people.
So honesty is the best policy.
Honesty is the best policy. I don't try and make the picture seem rosier than it is. I often am very clear of what we do have and what we don't have.
Right.
And if they're comfortable with that, and making sure that there's workarounds, and there's always a creative solution. So oftentimes I tell people, and what I look for people in the early stages, people that are resourceful.
Right.
There's always different ways to skin a cat, so to speak, and there's always a more robust and expensive way.
Yeah.
But there's usually, especially now with the internet, and there's all kinds of different apps and solutions, and cost-effective ones, sometimes even free.
Right.
That can basically do the same job at free or a fraction of the cost.
Right. So it's selling the dream, but also being in reality when you do so.
Exactly.
Thanks, Frank. That's all the time we got, guys. So as always, any questions that we didn't get to on the topic, you can submit them to the email you see on the screen or on the website. And in fact, next week will be our first Ask Frank segment, where we'll be taking those questions and we will be getting you answers. So until next time, you know the drill. Share, like, tell someone that you care very much about this show so they can learn too, and keep it lean.